should clients book, upgrade, confirm with their vendors for a spring 2021 event?
I would have to say it's a month out for us to book and confirm your event. And if it's 2 months out, that's even better.
We do this every day, every time, over and over again.
Right.
So we're used to this, and we understand that we, put our clients at ease, letting them know that we got this. They just have to communicate with us. Is absolutely part of our tasks.
As the term for live stream is a Zoom, but a Zoom is one option for a live stream. You can stream to YouTube like we are today. We can stream to Facebook like we are today. Some are more private than others.
Because our 2020s have shifted to 2021 spring, and now my 2020s are now shifting to the 2021 fall. So it's becoming a busier season than normal, absolutely.
I have clients that have canceled 2 and 3 times, and I've already had bookings, and they pick a date that we have 3 bookings, but we're not going to turn you away. We're going to make it happen.
We're finding that people are now switching bar and bar mitzvahs to Sweet 16s. And now we're doubling up on dates, even more.
They're booked for 2022. Is it too early to talk? And it's never too early.
It really does come down to the planning. I mean, everybody's going to have a different planning process.
The feeling that I'm getting on the phones is that, people are ready to party.
DC dance break time. And one of my favorite points of the party is when the lights drop out and we bring all them blinkies in, baby. We gotta bring them in. Let's go. Hey. 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 Get it, Joe. I see you, Joe.
Oh, you guys caught me. You caught me.
We want to thank everyone for tuning in today. It was so nice to see all of you here with us.
Yes.
Don't worry if we didn't get to your questions today. We're definitely going to incorporate them into future episodes. So be sure to tune in next week when we discuss safety protocols of a modern event. See you next week on Mitzvah Chatter.
Bye.
Tips, Trends, Talk. It all starts here. This is your weekly live Q&A with mitzvah industry experts. Welcome to Mitzvah Chatter. This week's panelists:
Hey,
What's up?
I love that intro music.
Hi, guys, and hello to all our viewers. Welcome back to Mitzvah Chatter. My name is Jill, and I am an event coordinator with All Around Entertainment.
My name is Leon. I'm the owner, president, and founder of All Around Entertainment.
I'm Michael.
Guys, I'm DC, and I love to rock out, man. I love to party with you guys.
I'm Michael from Laurie Visuals. I'm excited to be here again today and share everything that we do with everyone.
And I'm Joseph Toper from Illuminaire Event Productions. I'm your design and production expert. Happy to be here for you guys.
Thanks, guys. We are so excited to be back here with you guys for Mitzvah Chatter. Today, we are going to focus on safety protocols of a modern event. And then we will recap a little bit more on tents because we've had so many inquiries about tents in their backyards. And we really want to give you all the information that you need to create the perfect event in your backyard during times like these. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section or just send us a quick hello for a DC shout out. Oh, and if you are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. So Leon, Michael, Dee, Joe, times really have changed and we need to be prepared for the restrictions that are in place. So let's discuss the adjustments that we've all made to ensure a COVID-safe event. What is the protocol for all of our staff members working an event, and what are some of the things that clients really can consider?
Great question, Jill. I want to bring up a sheet now. We're going to start with. We'll pop it up on the screen now. And for the clients, I think number one is limit the number of guests. And we're going to talk about that. People are used to having 100 to 250 people at their party. Now it's down to maybe 75, 50. D, how many did you have last weekend?
135.
135.
I mean,
And how many of that were kids and how many were adults?
half and half.
Half and half.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's, number two, separate out the festivities.
Well, Lee, can we not skip over that? I had a mitzvah last weekend. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. It's a big deal.
What's that now? 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
The wheels are turning, guys. The wheels are turning.
Come on.
And we need to let the clients know that the wheels are starting to turn here.
Yes.
We had, I think we had 3 parties last weekend, which was great for us. The week before that, it was only 1. So we see the wheels are definitely turning. But let's go back to the list, D. Separate out the festivities. What I mean by separate out the festivities is that you might have your service at one time. You might have a cocktail hour for just adults at another time. And then you might have a kids party at that point. So 3 to 4, you could have pretty much the service. You can have a cocktail from like 5 to 6. And then you can have a kids party from 7 to 10. And that's what I mean by separate out the festivities. Have different parties on different days or different times. Kind of the same concept, but that's what it is. Maximize your tent. Going back to that. Maximize your tent, Joe. And what I mean by that, Joe, you can elaborate a little bit on that. Once again, you have all 3 of your events happening in the tent at different times.
So the layout and the flow is all things that we work on with you, with the client, to make sure it's ideal for, if you're separating out the festivities or if it's together. The layout is big.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we'll work with floor plans. But if you're going to have a tent in your backyard, you might as well use it for every festivity you're going to have.
Yes.
Once again, the service, then you can have a cocktail party for the adults only, and then you can have a kids party. So those are 3 different ways you can basically kind of have and maximize your tent. Please have a sanitation station available around.
Yes.
That's really big, where you can have it at where the entranceway where everyone's coming in. MC James is not with us, but the signing board, you can have it near the signing board. But please have a sanitation station and have sanitizers at each table. That is really, really big. So when people are at the tables, they can, if they come up for the kennel lighting, they can come back and sanitize their hands.
Right.
And then easy access to the restrooms. I know we're having these parties at the home, but just please, when you're thinking about placing your tent and guests arriving and where guests are going to enter, please have that restroom very, very accessible to where guests can get to from the tent.
You know what I love too, Lee? I love the swag mask. The mask with, the little logo or the swag for the event date. I love those masks. They've been at a lot of the mitzvahs, and I think it's just awesome. It's a really nice touch.
Yeah. The masks are definitely huge. We're gonna get that in the safety precautions with the DJ company and everyone else. But first, I think we're going to hit the service because that's kind of next for the client to think about. We've already done safety precautions that the client can think about, and before the party even starts and what goes on. But now we'll talk to Mike about really the service part of it.
Right. So, I mean, the service is why we're here. So we want to make sure everyone's safe the entire event from start to finish. So it's really a discussion you should have with your synagogues about their procedures. I know we have these discussions before. Every single time we enter, we want to know what is expected of us, how it's going to flow. And then you should find out how your guests are entering, how many guests you can have. Procedures change, the amounts change. So try to just contact them as your date approaches. And then if it's at your house, same thing. What is the cantor comfortable with? What are the rabbi comfortable with? What are the plans? Just have that discussion, have that conversation, and be ready to adjust for whatever everyone's comfortable and safe with.
once again, I want to say, as the client, I need you to continue to think about these words: comfortable, patience,
Absolutely.
flexible, creative, and just be able to conform to whatever's going on out there today. Please remember those key words when you're planning these parties. They're extremely important when you're planning these parties. Let's go for the DJ portion now, D. When we are doing these parties, before we even leave our facility, we wipe down all of the equipment before we leave. So we want to make sure the client knows that when we're loading trucks, we are using gloves to load the trucks up. We want them to know that. And then we're taking temperature checks with every staff member before they enter the facility or the person's home or the tent. That's a big thing. And then the crew wears gloves for setups. So when we're setting up all the equipment, everyone using gloves. That's a very, very big thing. And once the setup crew is done, they're gone. They're out of there. Wasn't one less person have to manage, one less person have to worry about. That is very, very key. And this is number one. Everyone on our staff wears a mask. Everyone.
We got our mask.
That is key. Now, if you, the client, want to provide the mask, we ask that. And we also bring backup masks. That's really, really key, bringing in a backup mask. I keep masks in my car. I have about 10 masks that are just laying around just in case I forget this one. It's not in my pocket. So I have 10 masks laying around. What about you, D? Do you want to elaborate on any of that, wearing the masks and what I've already discussed?
Yeah, I'll go back to comfortability, being comfortable. The party, I'll give you two examples. The party I had this last weekend, I'm not going to give any names or locations, but most of the guests were not wearing masks at that party. However, our staff, I instructed, and we mask up just to keep everybody comfortable. The guests can choose to do what they want to do, but as far as us and our staff, we'll just stay masked up for safety. And it was an amazing party. On the flip side, I just had another client meeting. We won't give any names or locations for that either. And it's the complete opposite. She's not even having her buffet station inside the tent. There's nothing inside the tent except the DJ setup. She took everything outside of the tent and put it on the edges around because she's just a little more cautious than my other clients. So once again, it's about being comfortable, but mask has to be worn for our staff at all times.
And what about let's bring in Michael and Joseph.
Right. I was just going to say the same thing with my team as well. We've gone over training of how everyone is masked. We have the hand sanitizer going at all times. We are keeping our distance because we don't necessarily need to be as close. And we're doing photo sessions. We make sure it's a lot of verbal communications. Those talits that always we're now the clients have to adjust, to make sure that they're perfectly level. So we've gone over training with my team. I know things have changed because I always have to have a team member or two on standby. We're going to do the temperature checks also, but if need be, that one of my members can't come in, another one comes in. My staff, we also have to keep them safe for each other. So we handle a lot of same crew, a lot of the equipment. So we have separate equipment now. So we'll have a case for each and every person. They handle their own batteries, charger. Like everyone's got to take care of their own stuff on an event just to keep everybody safe. It gets wiped down before when I pack it up a couple days before, and then it'll sit there for a little bit till I can get it packed up, wiped up and down between events as well. So it's all about safety and comfort. I did see the quick shout out to my mother. Shout out to my mother. So
hey,
thanks, Mom.
Hey, Mom.
What's up, Mom?
Back to you.
Thanks for chatting with us.
All right. What about you, Joe?
Again, comfortability. It comes down to comfortability. At the end of the day, we're going to take each and every precaution for our staff. We're going to wear masks. We're going to sanitize. We're going to stick to that. But at the end of the day, it's the client and their guest choice. So we respect that either way, and we're just happy to be a part of it and happy to be part of their celebration.
Indeed. Let me, because I'm pretty sure some clients are thinking out there. What about the meetings? Me personally, mine have all been pretty much Zoom. What about you?
Actually, I had my first in-person meeting since COVID yesterday. It has been all Zoom before then. This particular family has been vaccinated, so they weren't wearing any masks, but I still wore my mask just for common courtesy and respect, and we had a great meeting. Most of my meetings have been through Zoom, and I'm comfortable with either or. I'm a people person, so I like to feel the energy and feel the dynamics of the family, the brother, the sister, how mom and dad interact. It's all little things that help me as an MC. But it's either or. It's whatever the client is comfortable with. If you want to Zoom with me,
Wendy
zoom out, we can Zoom out. If you want to see me in person, I would love to. So it's completely up to you guys.
Same thing here. I've been having
shout out to Wendy Stoop real fast. Sorry guys, I love her. Wendy,
Wendy!
how are you?
Wendy.
Just like we're having outdoor events, I'm having outdoor meetings. We're doing Zoom, but then I'm down. Hey, let's go to a park on a nice day. Not like a rainy day, of course, but and we go out and we have the conversation and we get some fresh air together. I wear masks. Persons can choose whether they wish to or not.
Yeah,
I
mean,
same here. I've been doing a lot of site surveys and masks, gloves, all the above. We want to take every precaution.
Yeah, and for us, Joe, I've met with you at a couple of clients' houses that we are still meeting the clients at their house to go over their setup. We're going over the tents. We're going over everything that has to do with the tent, the floor plan, and the structure, and pretty much how it goes. So yes, we are still meeting the clients at their house prior to the event to kind of go over the flow and where the setup should be. So yes, we're still meeting people at this point, and guests and clients.
Love that. So let's talk about the DJ and your staff at a party. Let's talk about the actual party. Candle lighting kind of has to be created differently, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, me and Dee are going to touch on this. We've both been doing parties since COVID has happened, and before we even get to that point, the crew that comes in, the dancers handling the props, they wear gloves. Pretty much, we leave all the items. We open up the packages, but we leave all the items inside of the packaging until they're being handed out to the kids or the adults. So that's a big thing that we do that helps out. And then the cocktail hour, we're basically, the kids are doing activities during the cocktail hour and they're spaced out. You need to separate your kids and adults if you can. I think that's a big thing. Every party that I've done up until this part, we have separated both the kids and the adults. Dee, how about last weekend? How did you do? Did you separate the kids and the adults?
Well, you should. My party was complete opposite last weekend. I got to be honest. I just gotta be honest. I saw some light at the tunnel this weekend. Like it felt like old times. I'm not gonna lie. Everybody was very, very comfortable. Like you said, that's the word. All of the guests were comfortable. Grandma was comfortable. She wasn't wearing a mask. Everybody was out on the dance floor as usual. We did our horror as usual. We did our candle lighting. All the same. Introductions the same. It was an amazing party. It was an amazing
that's awesome. We got to give a round of applause for the light at the end of the tunnel. Before I continue, once again, it has to be for you as the client, has to be comfortable. You have to be comfortable. You have to have patience with all of your vendors and your guests, sending out invitations, being impatient with Michael from L'Oreal and whoever that you possibly use. Flexible. Please be flexible because you don't know when that tent's going to arrive. They could say Tuesday. It could be Wednesday. That's where the patience and the flexibility comes into play. Conform to what's going on for today. Keep track of what's going on in the news. Keep track of how many people you should be having and what percentage you should be having.
Changes all the time.
Check the news. Check. Conform yourself. And just be creative. When you walk out your garage, I know it's your garage, but we have draped garages to make them look amazing. So that is very, very key. We can really conform anything to what you really want with the color scheme that you have. And this the DJ setup and the photo booths, all that we can conform to what you need to be able to have.
The transformations are amazing. What it looks like before and after. It's
absolutely.
Wonderful.
D, let's go into since we're done the prep work, let's go into the intros and the candle lighting. For me, this is what I've done, D, and we'll ask you next, is that I really have kind of only did the bar and bar mitzvah. introductions of only the bar and bat mitzvah. As far as the candlelighting, I've done it a couple different ways. I've done it where just the bar bat mitzvah says one poem. I've done it to where only 3 people come up for a candle. I've actually taken the microphone over to the person that's sitting at the table. So we've done it in a lot of different ways. And we do have mic covers for every mic. And they're disposable. So we in turn take that mic cover off when somebody has, and we normally take 2 microphones to a party. We're now taking 4 microphones to a party. And last but not least, what I've been doing is trying to do all my formalities at once to really get everything done. So it's not back and forth. They're having to use a separate mic. So I try to do everything back to back to back to back. And what have you been doing, D?
A few of the same things. One was one person from every table came up, or I guess represented the table, I guess you could say, was one way.
That's smart.
Was no one got up from their tables. They stayed at their tables. And the bar or bot will go to them, to their table, and take a picture that way. And the other ones that you did as well. But my one last week,
Oh, D, man, I think you're in shock, man.
Last week was crazy, guys. Like it was great. It was great.
It was turned up.
It was great, man.
I remember we talked on Sunday. It was turned up.
It was great. I had to give you a call. It was amazing. It felt good. It felt really good.
And one of the things I've also been doing, D, and I know you've been doing it because I've been stressing it to all of the MCs, is that really washing your hands after those formalities. That's what I've been doing, is washing my hands and then come back really quick. And that's why it's key to have that access to the restrooms for us, because we go back, forth, come in, wash our hands, and then go back out again.
I normally get a good like drip with my hand sanitizer. Like you swat. You got to be able to. You didn't get it that good. You know what I mean?
I love you, D. Oh my goodness. We're having fun today. This is our 3rd episode. We're having fun.
This is my drip.
I mean, I would say the same thing with my team. We're taking breaks. We're rotating a little bit when it's all part of our plan. The microphone covers, same exact thing. If we ever do any type of messaging or interviewing or we're putting anything, we have different covers. Then we also are using mic stands more. Instead of having clients hold anything, we're putting the mic stands in front. If we're, for like presentations during cocktails for the kids, we're putting the mic in front and not, passed around. So it's just being very conscious. Good planning, good discussion with the client, with the venue, everybody, and being on the same page.
I know this one wasn't on the list, but group photos was something that kind of changed for me as well, because you'll have maskers and you'll have non-maskers.
Wow.
And we always ask the clients. So when we do group photos, we say whatever you're comfortable with. They have the matching logos. It looks nice. I mean, it works. And then some, like, we may scatter them. I know some grandparents we're still in the vaccination process, and some grandparents are still not comfortable. So we were doing like kind of a distance thing, and some cute things like that. I mean, we try to do it outdoors when we can as well. Maybe move out from the tent, kind of spread out in the field. We're still getting everybody. They're just kind of spaced. So it just takes everything just takes a couple more moments than what we used to do, but we get there and we still have the memories forever.
Well, I've had three variations of that. I've had where mom was like, well, the boys, they all play sports together. They've been playing sports all through COVID.
Very true.
So she didn't mind if they took the mask down. I've had moms that said, absolutely not, keep the mask up the entire time. And then I've had moms that said, give me both. Give me one with mask on and mask off. So it's really, once again, what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I haven't done a group photo in a party, since COVID even started. So those are great answers, guys. I really like that.
Just don't do the graduation picture where they take the mask, throw them in the air, and get that picture, and then they all just grab and put them back on.
Somebody else's mask.
Right. That was suggested once, and we're like, don't do that.
Okay. Games. Let's go into games a little bit. For me, D, I've been playing the games a little bit differently. Okay. You know what I mean? For me, for Coke and Pepsi, I don't not call it Coke and Pepsi. I'll call it Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi. And the kids just come halfway, in between everything. They don't high five. No, it's halfway. You high five it.
I like
you
that.
come back.
I like that. Yeah.
It's halfway. So it's not really you know, Coke and Pepsi anymore. It's Diet Coke.
And
Diet
Diet
Coke
Pepsi.
and Diet Pepsi. I'm gonna have to adopt that one. I had to kind of revamp my Coke and Pepsi as well. It's the COVID safe Coke and Pepsi. Nobody's touching or anything like that. Everything's spread out. And I personally do feel like I have the best Coke and Pepsi in the tri-state area.
And that's my son who's virtual from the other room taking his break, and he's a huge fan of the show and all of you. So he stuck his head in
the
also.
building. Barry Sapinski's in the
Braden,
building. Hi,
get back to
Barry.
Hey, Barry.
What's up, Bear?
Hey, Barry.
D, now that we've gotten through the introductions and the formalities, let's talk a little bit about the horror, and what I've been doing and what you've been doing. And what I've been doing is really, doing the horror at their tables.
Okay.
That's a big thing that I've been doing. And as an MC, I'm still on the stages, but we're actually the immediate family only is on the dance floor, and everyone else is doing the horror at their tables. So that's what I've been doing. What about you, buddy?
I'll go give you the three different ones. We're gonna go extreme to super loose. So extreme is everyone at their tables, just immediate family, out with the chair. The next one would be people on the dance floor with hula hoops that separate them to make the circle.
Okay.
Which would be, still a little bit more. And then I've had everyone on the dance floor with no hula hoops, separating them, just them not touching. Does that make sense? And then mom would pre-designate 3 adult guests with masks to lift the chair. And it would just be the bar or bot. It wouldn't be the entire family. And then last weekend, it was a whole bar.
It was a whole party.
I mean, grandma was out there swinging them around like it was great.
Awesome. I love it. So it's a big thing that we're working on. Now we're going to go into the dancing part of it. And what I suggest is dancing at different times. Change your timeline out and dance at different times, meaning that while the kids are at the buffet, the adults are dancing. While the adults are dancing, kids are at the buffet. So you can do in flip-flop. So that's what I've been doing as far as the dancing, is not have everyone on the dance floor at the same time. And what I've been doing is moving the stages out farther. To make sure that one stage is here, they're not close, tight together. And what about you, D?
Pretty much the same. I mean, even if we weren't dealing with COVID, I think it's super smart to separate your dance sets, because you can cater to both sides of the room. I mean, you have so many different ages and dynamics in the room. It's just smarter to break it up anyway, especially when you can send adults to eat and dance kids, or send the kids and dance the adults. And then obviously party together at some point. But I've been separating my dance sets, a lot more kids than adults though, because when everything first started to come back, there was no adults at my parties. It was literally just kids parties. And now it's starting to kind of go back to the way it was, to where the adults will be there now. And now we're kind of rocking out. So that's pretty much with that. The other thing is, when we were really first starting back, our staff was not out there. This was when it was first really like, this is fresh, COVID. Our staff wasn't really going out there too much. We would stay on our stages and keep our 6 feet distance. Now that, vaccines have started coming out, people are starting to feel more comfortable. We don't touch anybody, but we're still out there grooving and two-stepping, keeping our space, keeping our distance with our masks, but still giving that energy, still encouraging, to get people out on the dance floor.
Yeah, I've got my shot, so I know. I mean, what it is. There's a difference when people have gotten their shots. Like you said, for the COVID shots with the party last weekend. Everybody had their shots.
Yeah. Now that being said, last weekend, mom and dad, they unleashed the beast. They said, DC, go get them. So I had to go. I had to go get him. So it was completely opposite of what I normally have been going through. So, and everybody was comfortable. I've been to parties to where, I'm gesturing for people to come out, and you can just tell they're just not comfortable. And that is completely okay. I'm comfortable with you not being comfortable, So it's really once again about the comfortability.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to, say it again and again, and you're going to get tired of me saying it. You have to be comfortable. You have to be flexible. You have to be patient. You have to conform, and you got to be creative in this time, in this era of what's going on with COVID. Once again, number one is really comfortable for me. So
yeah. So actually, you actually have a really good question here from Rachel Frankel, and she's asking us if we're comfortable telling people to keep apart or mask up at an event.
Well, one more time. I'm sorry, Jill. What was the question?
Rachel Frankel, she's asking us, are we comfortable telling people to keep apart or mask up? Like if they feel that needs to happen, are we comfortable, staff, to tell these people that they need to do that?
I am always comfortable whatever my clients want. If my clients direct me that this is what they wish, I would put it that way. Your host and hostess would appreciate if you did this or that. And I would do that any event. Like, we want to make sure it's a comfortable event. Those are our focus, our guests.
For me, I really wouldn't say, I don't say host and hostess, because my job is to, when I meet with the client, we straight up right away say, how do you want to handle, COVID? How aggressive do you want me to be at your party? And whatever that is with them is what I do. I don't even say it's them. It's me at that point. Now, this being said, I can't make anybody do anything, and my staff can't touch anybody or force anybody to do anything. But when you're on my dance floor, you're on my stages, you definitely can be masked up. You got to be masked up. And once again, that's the importance of your MC and your dancers. We are pretty much an extension of the client. And all of this is talked about at the meeting, hopefully at the house, on Zoom, zooming it up.
It's all about communication that we keep saying. If you communicate with us, that's what we will do.
I feel comfortable telling people to spread out, mask up, keep your distance on the dance floor. I mean, that's my job. And if the client doesn't want that, and they say, hey, D, we have a lot of people that are vaccinated. We don't want you to make it feel weird and keep saying spread out. Just let it kind of organically happen. I feel comfortable doing that too. I'm comfortable. I'm in the people getting together business. So,
and for me, I've been telling people, mask up. You know what I mean? Mask it up. I'll go around, and some people are offended that I say it, but I say it, mask up. And a person had to tell me one time, I'm dancing, we're grooving, dancing, having a great time. People were separated. My mask comes down off of my nose, and one of the guests comes up to me and says, you need to pull your mask up over your nose. So it goes both ways. I've had a guest, sometimes you're in the moment, and boop, it popped down, and boop, he said, bring it back up. And I brought it back up. I wasn't offended. I mean, because I knew that it was important to him.
There's no slips get you. You know what I mean?
So David has a question here. How do you handle guests approaching your DJs, requesting songs? Are there alternative solutions other than a live request, virtual request, message board? What can we do?
What we've done, I've done at a couple parties. Once again, Dee is going to chime in. Is that we've taken old, coat check devices and put in plastic on those, so when they come up to the right and to the left of the backdrop, they're still divided by plastic. So that's one of the things that I've done, Jill, at my parties, that if they want to still make a request, there's a divide, and they talk in between the divide, like you're at a bank or like you're at Home Depot, wherever you're located. So that's what I've been doing at parties.
I got to keep it real. I don't take requests. I got to keep it 100. I meet with the client, and I get a prepaid, pre-selected songs and list that we have. They are paying for the party. They have certain things that they have to hear and certain things that they don't want to hear. And it's my job to make sure that happens. That being said, if I get a request that will elevate my room or take that party to the next level, because it's happened. Somebody said, hey, DC, can you play this? And I said, oh, yes, I can. DJ, drop it. We could do that. But as far as just people coming up to the DJ, like I don't do that, because most of the time it's some crazy song that has a whole bunch of cursing that the kids want to hear, or it's just a random song that one person in the room likes that the rest of the guests don't like. So I don't. Yeah, sorry.
Request for D.
Mom, dad, bar, bot. They can have any request they like. Yes, it's going to be rough for my party.
I like it. I like it.
Good to know. Lee, do you want to bring up the rest of that list so we can run through it? I know we have a couple more things to touch on.
Yeah, I want to touch on really with Joe and lounge and bleachers. I really been, suggesting to my clients more lounge at the parties because we can separate the kids in different pods at the party. And one of the biggest things I've been kind of suggesting is bleachers. For the kids, to be able to separate them and put X's on the bleachers to be able to sit where the kids can sit. So what about you, Joe? What do you think about all that?
Yeah, I think that, again, it comes right back to comfortability. And, the lounge furniture we provide, the novelty games, it's all sanitized and wiped down. And we also have, staff available by request that we can add that staff member to periodically sanitize, your lounge furniture or whatever novelty game you may have. So again, it just comes back to comfortability and us just wanting to do what's right and at the same time do what's right for the client.
I actually had the bleachers at my party last weekend, and it worked well for spreading the kids out. It worked really, really well. It was bleacher and lounge. So it really opened up and spread everything out. I think it's a great idea, Lee.
Yeah. I mean, so wipe down the basketballs, the footballs, accessories, wipe down the photo booths, tennis wears, gloves, have multiple paddles, pool sticks, whatever game that you choose that we have accessories. We just bring that much extra to the party. So just to let the client know that there is a question this is a really, really good question. If you can pop that up, Jay. Thoughts on shortening time of parties, 4+ hours too much in C19. I can't believe it's almost a year and we still have no plans. Yes. The shortening of the party is usually 2.5 to 3 hours now. And then I'll explain that. And then Dee will explain it a little bit too. You'll have a service that usually lasts an hour, Mike.
Yep.
Right?
Correct.
And then I suggest to a lot of my clients, if you want to have a separate kids party, that you in turn do a fun cocktail party with, 15, 20 of your guests. And then we have a 2.5 hour to 3 hour, record hop with some adults mixed in, close family members. And yes, you're cutting out all the first course. You're cutting out the entree. You're cutting out a lot of formalities throughout the party. So no, it does not need to be a 4+ hour party, but it becomes an all day festivity, as I call it, meaning that the service is in the tent or in your driveway or in your garage or in your house for an hour to an hour and a half. And you can have a cocktail hour party with just your adults. That's an hour, and then you have the 2.5 to 3 hour kids party. So you're spending your whole day now, instead of just doing the 5 hours. So 3 hours is really the max for a party for, kids and adults right now.
I agree 100%. I think 4 or over is way too long. In general. And for me, I'd rather have, as an MC, I'd rather have 2.5, 3 hours of absolute amazing energy and fun than 4 or 5 hours of lulls in between. And you could just feel everybody's tired. They had first, second, third course. Now they're feeling sleepy. Now I'm trying to get them out of their seats, and it's just on and on and on. And we've all been there before. Think about when you used to go to the club. If you went to the club, like, I wasn't dancing for 3 hours straight. Like, I wasn't dancing for 2 hours straight. I danced for about 30 minutes, go have a drink, take a break. So you kind of want it to feel natural, have a lot of power, energy, and leave your guests wanting more. That's the key. Like, you want your guests to leave your party like, wow, oh my goodness, I can't believe it was amazing. Not, wow, it kind of started to drag at the end there. Honey, grab your purse. I'm gonna get my blazer. Let's get out of here. It's starting to
always end on a high note. Absolutely.
That's real. I mean, episode 3 is all about fun, laughter, but serious when it comes to safety precautions. But thank you, Dee, for all the laughter today. I love it today.
No problem.
I love it.
I got you.
Now, Jill, normally we would do DC dance party, but I think we're going to cut that today. because I really want to go back to something I've been getting a lot of phone calls from is the really the tents. Jay, if we can get the tents up, because I don't want to run out of time today, because this is very important.
We have a question? Oh, there we go.
And really the number and Joe, this is going to be key for me and you right now, and Michael, and a little bit of D, is just the generator, the power at a party. It is
so important.
It's like the number one question. People don't feel like they need a generator. And let me just say it like this, and as nice and smooth as possible. Those outlets outside have been outside for years. They have been rained on, they have been snowed on, and they've been in extreme heat. That shouldn't be the gist of your party, because those things could mess up an entire party. So please keep in mind that when you are planning these parties is your power, because you're normally in a ballroom that's insulated, that has walls, that is treated every year, that is used every weekend. That is not the case when you're going outside. So keep in mind, your outside is not as nice as your inside, and you're dealing with elements from the outside.
This list is awesome too. Where is this list available for viewers anywhere to pull this list up?
Yes, it's available. Jared will pull it on every format that we have. You can always call the office. It can always be sent to you. But yes, the people can also have this list. That's why I want to pop this list up right now, so people can see it.
Right.
And it's just that's important. Location, once again, let's go through it quickly, Joe. Location, either at your home or at a facility, which is important. You have to make that decision. What makes you feel comfortable? You might not have a backyard that's flat. It might be sloped. Number of guests. It's important because that's the size of tent that you need to have, is the number of guests. Then the uses for the tent. Are you going to just do one party in there? Are you going to do
maximize
the service? Are you going to do the cocktail hour and the party? And please, if you're going to do that, think about the timing. Give us time, and give Michael time, and give everyone time. If you're going to do the service, Michael and Jared, they're doing a live broadcast, need time to break down, get everything out. The caterer, if you're having one, the decorator, if you're having one, table movement, if you need to, needs to be done. And then if you're having a cocktail hour in that same tent, just for your adults, that's not the same thing you need for the service or the party part. And then if you have the party at night, that's DJ, stages, novelty, decor, tablecloths, all that. So keep that in mind when you're having these tents.
Right. So just to piggyback on that, the changeover time, once everything's decorated, we want to capture it for you. And we need a moment between everything to make sure we get the pictures. And like Leon mentioned, we need to come before to set up if we're doing photo sessions with you, or if we're doing broadcasts. So the tent needs to be set for that also. So it's just, again, with the communication, knowing we're going to show up beforehand. We need a moment, like 5-10 minutes to take pictures and video and film the room to make you really capture your day. Because it's just like we do before. You'll be in a cocktail hour, so we just want to make sure to leave that time allotted for us.
Absolutely. What type, what size, open walls, that can all be done with your tent company and or with Joe from Illuminary. He has so much knowledge and info, Joe, right?
Yeah. We have a lot of resources, and I've had the privilege over the last 15 years to work with, some of the best tent vendors in the area. So we're 100% excited to connect with you and help you and guide you and connect you with the proper vendor.
Heater, generator, bathroom, subfloor, the four most important things. We've all been to that party. Myself, DC, Joe, and Michael have been to that party where there's mud on the ground just from rain from a couple days. It rained like crazy. Just think if your tent was already in yesterday and you didn't have a subfloor. If you walk outside to your house right now into your grass,
it's going to be soft.
It's going to be soft.
It's going to be soft.
It's going to be muddy, and it's not going to be dry, really dry, of what you need to be able to place items on it by Saturday. Subfloor is extremely important. That's
when you sit in the chairs and the chairs slowly start to sink back. I mean, that's me. I'm a big guy, so that's a good one. Right.
The heels.
The heels, absolutely.
sink in.
Yeah.
And again, I think you can always, utilize your driveway space. You can be as creative ways to get you that hard surface we need to party. So you have options, and we're here to help you with them.
And when we come back next week, I think we're going to get more pictures also to the clients, because we have done a ton of tents outside a person's driveway next to their garage. It's really cool, and transforming those spaces to make it fun and exciting for the guest and for you, the client. Logistics. Very big. You know what I mean? You got to have logistics when planning this. This is not you walk into a country club or a facility and everything's there. Everything's planned out. It's more logistical now because everyone has to come in. Everybody has to be planned to come in, when the tent is, when the tent's coming in, all that. So logistically, you need to have your logistics down pat. Floor plan, we can help with floor plans. We're amazing at doing floor plans, and that's going to be a segment by itself. Logistics and floor plans coming up in the next month or two. If you need a planner, we have planners here. You might have your own planner already. That's awesome also, but you definitely probably will need a planner in this process. Lighting and tent liner. Woo. Joe?
Get him, Joe. Get him. Oh.
We lost Joe.
He vanished.
I'll come back.
That's why you need to be plugged in
Yeah.
when you have these parties. Mike?
Well, can I say something really quick?
Yes.
Most of the time with the tents, there is no lights. Like, it's a tent. You know what I mean? Unless you get like, oh, go ahead, Joe. This your
I'm back. Technical difficulty, guys. I'm back, though. I'm back. And this is the funnest part. I get so excited about tents, because, tents are pretty basic, and what we are able to do in tents is amazing because we can literally transform them. And with lighting solutions, with fabric liners, with chandelier installations, with market lighting installations, bee lighting, just pole treatments. There's so many different things we can do to either soften up the look of the tent, to make it go along with your entire decor scheme, color scheme, and it's really great.
Awesome, Joe. Let's bring that list back up so we can finalize that list for the client. Tables, lounge, it's your choice. But a lot of people, I've been also suggesting that lounge is extremely important at these times. You can space people out no matter what. We've been doing a lot of high top tables, not just tables, but just high tops also. DJ setup, really. We've been doing a ton of different DJ setups. You call the office, Jared, myself, DC, Jill, Carson, Trish can all go over different setups that you can have for the space that you have. And a lot of times we do come to your house and view your space and take pictures of your space and bring it back to the office so we can kind of see what's going to work best for your particular
and sometimes we can get a great image on Google Earth, and that also allows us to get a good look at the property, to take measurements via satellite. There's a lot of things we can do to get the ball rolling before that initial site visit. And it's just great, and also I just wanted to explain too, because I was saying, tent liners, I kind of want to explain what a tent liner is just in case someone doesn't know. So, when you have your tent set up, you're going to have the framework of your tent inside of the tent. You will see that framework. You will see either the aluminum or the metal poles or pipes that construct the frame of your tent. And what a liner does is a liner in the tent conceals all of that. So now you go from walking into a tent where you see the frame to walking into a space like, wow. And that is just, it's night and day. And maybe we can put a reel together of a lot of the before and afters that we have from the tents, because it really blows your mind, and it's really hard to understand until you see it. But what these tent liners are amazing, and they transform these tents to make it into its own unique space. And there's like an unlimited amount of design ideas and an unlimited amount of colors and fabric textures and things that you can add to it that just take it to the next level, really. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew what a tent liner was.
No, actually, I think we actually have a tent video that we should pop up so that the viewers can.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
The virtual.
Love it.
Oh, I love the retro soundtrack. I'm like jamming. But for example, like that tent that you guys saw, was that happened to be a clear top tent, and there's things that we do inside of clear top tents as well. It may not be a full liner. We don't want to conceal the beautiful view, but there's other little treatments we may do. It could be lighting design, some string lighting to give you that nice starry night effect, all dimmable. There's lots of different creative solutions for every tent frame. The important part is getting a grasp on which tent you have, booking that tent, then getting us that information so that we can just start designing from there.
Awesome. Let's finish out the list. Important. We have a few more important things. Broadcast, live stream. Michael, let's touch on that for a hot minute.
Absolutely. So when you're considering your setup, we want to know where the DJ is setting up so we can communicate with them. We can make sure there's no wires, make sure we're safe and broadcasting. We have wireless transmitters now. There's a lot more requests of actually transmitting, broadcasting the party as well. The candlelighting for someone who may not be able to be there, we can then put them up on the screens and they will be part of your event, even if they couldn't be there for whatever reason. So it's just, again, communication, trying to figure out the logistics inside the tent, make sure we have a little corner for our crew to be there with the switcher and everything that works well with all around entertainment and everything else that's going on.
Awesome,
Mike.
Photo booths, games, novelty, they're extremely important in these times. So please make sure when you're trying to get your tent that you leave room for those items. That's important, and know the size of them and know how much space is needed for them, the circumference of the space of a photo booth. So when someone's standing in front of it, then at that point we're not on the dance floor. Food trucks and versus caterer. That's another important factor. Figure out what you're going to do there. Rain date, check. Mic check 1 and 2. That's important. Extremely important. Please have a backup plan when you're messing with rain and tent and elements of the outside. Neighbors, community, and noise ordinance. Just be respectful. Just be respectful of your neighbors. Ask them. Let them know. Communicate with them. And then just the times of the affair. All those are important factors when it comes to celebrating inside of a tent. So we just really we've gotten so many phone calls. I've been on so many meetings this week alone, just discussing these important factors to clients. So that's really about it, Jill.
It's great. You guys, safety, masks, events, tents, all in our backyard. You guys, it's like the new norm, but I love how we do it. It's what we do.
Right. And always, guys, viewers, if you always can go on Instagram or Facebook at Illuminaire _ and see a lot of great visuals that I think will help tie everything together for you, And
allaroundentertainment.com too, right, Jill?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have All Around Entertainment. And
your website, Michael?
LaurierVisuals.com. Happy to help.
Easy enough.
Yep.
He's got a good radio voice, right?
I know. I love his voice.
It's the mic. I actually have a very horrible voice normally. It just makes me,
It's the mic.
It's the mic.
I need that mic.
We all need a mic.
We should rotate it, and then everybody could sound,
Next week, I'll have Mike's mic.
There you go.
Let's talk about next week. We're pretty much taking a week off, correct?
Yes, we're going to take the week off for Passover, spring break, and I think we're planning on resuming on Thursday, April 8th. Unfortunately, this is all the time we have for today, but it was fun hanging out with you guys, chatting.
Always.
Awesome.
I love you guys.
Always a pleasure talking to you guys, getting our chat on.
Thank you, viewers. Thank you, viewers, for joining us today.
Viewers. We will see you guys next time on Mitzvah Chatter.
See you soon, guys.
Peace.
We'd like to thank our guest panelists for sharing their expertise today. They invite you to reach out with any specific questions regarding your mitzvah. Thank you for joining us this week on Mitzvah Chatter.